Good morning, USA. Welcome to another Bernie or Bust show episode. Fueled by coffee, cranberry trail mix, and what do we have today? Looks like more barley. I really wish you could taste the barley when it's mixed in with cacao nibs and stevia leaves all ground up. When it's cooking in the crock pot, it just smells so good. But whatever you're having for breakfast, pull up a chair and join me for some fun. Is Bernie or bust the future of the left? Now, I'm not currently a member of Democratic Socialists of America, but I have a friend named Jerry who is, and I'm very seriously thinking of signing up and paying dues to become a member of Democratic Socialists of America, because in their recent convention, national convention in Atlanta, they voted on a resolution 15, I think it was, that said that they're going to not vote for anyone other than Bernie Sanders, no matter what, no matter who. If Mr. Sanders is not the nominee, the group passed a resolution Friday saying that it will not officially endorse anyone else, regardless of what that might mean in a general election against Mr. Trump. For Democratic Socialists of America, it's Bernie or bust. And that's what they called their resolution when they were voting on it. The lopsided passage of the resolution, known by that pithy nickname, Bernie or bust, prompted happy whistles in the ballroom of the Westin Peachtree Plaza, one of Atlanta's few union hotels. The silent, raised arm, wiggling hands of American Sign Language applause, which over the convention's 3 days crested throughout the room like ocean waves, was unusually ecstatic. The vote could not help but flabbergast a certain kind of mainstream liberal, anxious that left-wing purity might detract from unseating President Trump next year. The beginning of the article is talking about how much Trump scares people. Trump scared a lot of people, said Maria Svart, the national director. So they joined. DSA went from 5,000 people to 56,000 people. And their members have some famous people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Senator Bernie Sanders is the original gangster, but he's not officially a member, but he may as well be. He enjoys a totemic status with the group's members. So what happened here is people, even though they're afraid of Trump, they got fed up with all the rigging. They got fed up with how unfair things are. And it isn't just how unfair the process is, the voting process, it's how unfair neoliberalism is to the United States people. We're going to go to Jimmy Dore next to talk about that. But people are afraid of Trump out of proportion to what he is doing and threatens to do compared to what already was done under neoliberalism from before Ronald Reagan until now. Here's a conversation I had yesterday before we go to Jimmy. I put this article on my Facebook group and I tagged a few snarling Democrats and stalwart progressives. Here's a stalwart progressive. Here's a snarling Democrat. There he is. He lives in Erie, Pennsylvania. And then I quoted from the article, if Mr. Sanders is not the nominee, the group passed a resolution Friday afternoon saying that it will not officially endorse anyone else, regardless of what that might mean in a general election against Mr. Trump. And what that it said on Twitter, when they were covering this story on Twitter, it said, and that means Elizabeth Warren is a no-go, which I was delighted to hear. And so if you're kind of thinking Bernie light or progressive light sort of not corporatist, but stealthily corporatist, Elizabeth Warren, is the answer. No, DSA says, nope, not even Elizabeth. It's got to be Bernie. Now, here's a comment. Well, they just lost this socialist. I hope the members have enough common sense to dump Trump and vote out GOP no matter who the Dem nominee is. So we've got the vote blue no matter who crowd. Bill Gordon, we got to get a grip on reality. Trump cannot be reelected no matter what. Our country depends on it. Ah! And then Evan and Glenda Boozer, Evan the snarling Democrat and Glenda Boozer both like those. and we've been had, folks. We're stuck. How can I show you the cartoon I made in their honor? That's what I'll do. Fear of Trump is how they manufacture consent. And then Hunter S. Thompson, I had him yesterday. There's a terrible danger in voting for the lesser of two evils because the parties can set it up that way. And then the frogs. Who cares about grubby populists anyway? So I'm talking about the elitism of snarling Democrats. Somebody has to do those jobs. Maybe we should listen. Neoliberal politicians suck too. That'd be a good segue into what Jimmy Dore has to say. Let's go right to Jimmy.
Win. If Hillary Rodham Clinton becomes president, here's my prediction. In 2 years, the House and Senate go even farther, way right. And they go, what about Supreme Court? She's going to nominate another Republican-leaning Supreme Court nominee.
Okay, so you can see that this was in 2016, April 29th, 2016, and everybody was freaking out about Donald Trump then, not even knowing what might happen. Jimmy had his head on straight. To make sense of this now, just substitute Joe Biden every time he says Hillary Clinton, and it is absolutely contemporary. Everything he's saying fits what's going on right now. Pay attention to what he says about Barack Obama.
Because right now, the Republicans control the Senate. Just like Barack Obama, he nominated a Republican-leading guy, a corporate-friendly Supreme Court justice. Right now, he just did that. So you think Hillary Clinton's going to be any different than that? She's not. It might even be more to the right, okay? You don't know, because she's going to try and work with the Republicans because the Republicans aren't going to let a lefty get onto the Supreme Court to shift. They're not going to do it. Guess what? The Democrats could do the same thing right back to Donald Trump. They can filibuster anything if he nominates a maniac. And so what we'll probably end up with is the same kind of Supreme Court justice, no matter if Hillary Rodham Clinton is president or Donald Trump.
Yes.
The only difference is the House and Senate are going to flip in the midterms. It's just which way you want it to flip. So it actually helps the progressive agenda. And let me tell you, what is Donald Trump going to do that isn't already happening? This is my last point, and then we'll go. What is Donald Trump going to do that isn't already happening? Right now, if you believe Fusion already says that Barack Obama is doing on a deportation level with Hispanics what Donald Trump is only promising to do. We already did a video about that. We already talked about that on the show. That Fusion is out. They said that Barack Obama has deported more people, more Hispanics, since all the presidents combined since the 1890s. That's what Fusion said. If you believe what Fusion says, all right? So that's already happening under Barack Obama. We're already getting right-leaning justices being nominated to the Supreme Court. He's already pushing TPP. What worse can Donald Trump do? He might not even do TPP. He says he wouldn't. He said he's against these trade deals. So what I don't understand, what is the bad thing that Donald Trump is going to do that isn't already happening? And by the way, what is Hillary Clinton going to do that's better than what he's going to do? She likes all the bad policies that the Republicans like. She's for TPP. Now she's against it.
Biden.
Believe me, she's going to flip on that.
Biden.
She's to the right of Donald Trump on Israel. I mean, So that's
Israel.
my case. So don't freak out about a Donald Trump presidency. I think, in fact, my theory is that it's even better for progressives in the short term, meaning in the 2-year term, and in 4 years for sure. But if we go the other way, we will have a Republican majority for 8 years.
Yeah.
And it'll be a nightmare. And they will be so radical. That's what we have to fear, is the House and Senate flipping in 2 years, and then in 4 years a Republican president, and then it's solid, and then we're screwed. Go ahead.
Well,
there we go. Go back if you want to hear the other side of this, but maybe I'll do that on tomorrow's show. But there you go. That's what you need to tell your frightened friends here. Because they say, oh, well, I'm Bernie. I like Bernie, but I'm so afraid of Trump that if Biden gets the nomination, I absolutely would vote Biden over Trump. And if you looked at these points, go back and watch that a few times. The points about the Supreme Court nominees are true. You've got Trump and Clinton. Trump, if anything, is to the left of Hillary Clinton. So, and then you look at Barack Obama, you could say the same thing about Supreme Court nominations. And even if they wanted to nominate a real progressive, which they wouldn't, even if they did, the Senate would block it, the Republican-controlled Senate. So that's a point. But a bigger point is trade deals. And there you can make the case that Biden would be far worse than Trump. And if you don't understand how trade deals work, then go to the Midwest, go to the Rust Belt, go to Ohio and Michigan and Wisconsin and Western Pennsylvania. Look at what happened after NAFTA. All those jobs, there was a huge sucking sound as all those jobs left. And Flint, Michigan and Youngstown, Ohio, and all those towns are a shambles. And that's not Donald Trump's fault, although he hasn't done anything to help them. He lied to them, absolutely. But what he said to them sounds like what Bernie Sanders would actually do or try to do if he were elected. So trade deals are actually more important to the quality of life in America than Supreme Court appointees, although those are important. And I'm not minimizing their importance. I'm just saying, even if we wanted a lefty Supreme Court justice, it would be very difficult, even for Bernie Sanders, to get that done. But Biden wouldn't even try. He would just go for the corporate-friendly, Republican-leaning appointee, that same kind of appointees that Barack Obama did. All right, you fearful, snarling Democrats, that's all I got for you today. See you tomorrow.